views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Welcome. How are you, everybody? I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BXRX. We have another fantastic show lined up for you today. In fact, coming up on today's show, we'll hook you up just the way you like it. We'll learn about a great opportunity that a professional sports team is extending to our New York City small businesses. Then we'll speak with the founder and brand manager of a small business in the Bronx about how they have continued to positively impact their community during the pandemic. Then we'll speak to three individuals who represent organizations that are pivotal to the COVID testing, tracing, and quarantine process. After that, Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports. And then we'll hear from a talk show host who will speak about her weekly program and webinar series. All of this and more is headed your way. You don't want to miss it. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. We got it going on right here. We're open. Hello, everybody. How are you? How you doing? Hope everything is well. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. It's a live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Commercial Officer of the New York City Football Club, who joins us to speak about an innovative new program called City Assist. His organization and their partners, Mastercard, have launched to provide a needed relief for one small New York City business as COVID continues to impact us. Please welcome to the show, Matt Goodman. Matt, how are you?
Dr. Bob, I'm doing good. I'm doing as good as we can be considering where we are in the world.
I know it's tough. So what is your role as COO and Chief Commercial Officer of NYCFC?
So it's a good question. So my responsibility is kind of all things marketing, business operations, and revenue. So the way in which we communicate to our fans, the way in which we talk to our corporate partners, the way in which we think about our season ticket members, and kind of all that implies, right? So in a traditional world where we have people coming to games in venues where we are able to activate for our partners, and all that implies, that would be the normal day to day. I actually started with the club a year ago yesterday. So as you can imagine, it's been an unconventional start, but also a tremendous learning experience, because I think our relationship with our corporate customer, our corporate partner, and our season ticket member is as important now as it could ever be.
The Assist? Tell us about it. How did it get started?
City Assist is amazing, and the timing couldn't be better. Mastercard has been a partner of ours since 2015. And the goal of this, obviously their initiative from a Mastercard perspective, is to lean in on small business. And no time has been more critical for small businesses than right now, especially in New York City, when you consider the impact of COVID and the pandemic. So, as rights holders, as NYCFC, our opportunity to provide a select small business in New York with the opportunity to basically get a corporate partnership and an opportunity to use, official designation as the official small business of NYCFC, to have custom content that lives on our website, to be able to our social channels, to be able to leverage our partner networking opportunities, right? Our goal is to be able to provide them with a corporate partnership that will help them grow their business.
There you go. And you said you started in 2015?
Well, we started our partnership with Mastercard in 2015. This initiative specifically around City Assist is an idea that was born out of our strategic planning for 2021 with Mastercard.
Yeah. How has the pandemic affected what you wanted to do moving forward?
I don't know if we have enough time, Bob. You know, the pandemic has affected everything we do. You know, to be in the live events business, you know, one thing when you consider the pandemic, and then you consider the pandemic and its disproportionate impact on New York City. You know, the ethos of our club is to empower better lives through soccer. And for us to be able to do that in a time when we're not able to have people come to our games, or we're not able to facilitate live camps and clinics, you know, for youth participants, and we're not able to engage hand to hand with our partners and bring our fans to our partners in a direct, meaningful way. This is the type of thing, the City Assist program with Mastercard, for us to try and do this in a virtual way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I was going to say, you could do but so much virtually when you're a contact sport type of person.
We feel really proud. You know, we were able to launch a content series on, you know, via our social channels on NYCFC.com, you know, and it's kind of tagged the Undeniable campaign, which really highlighted small businesses, highlighted frontline workers, doctors, NYPD, you know, individual personalities and how they were impacted by this, and they're directly back to the club. You know, we understand that we are a city asset, NYCFC. So it's important for us to make sure that our place in the community is.
Yeah, Matt. What are some of the opportunities that come along with being branded a small business partner of the NYC FC for the 2021 season?
So it's a good question. The company that gets selected, City Assist program with Mastercard, they'll receive the exclusive designation of the official small business of NYCFC. They'll receive TV visible in stadium signage and branding. As I said, they'll receive custom content telling the story of the business that will live on our website and through our social channels. The company will also receive branding on NYCFC.com and our social channels, right? So advertising placement on those spaces. They'll receive 100 tickets for both employee and customer incentives. They'll receive a predetermined amount of merchandise to use for promotional purposes, as well as access to our internal partner forum and networking opportunities, you know, which we feel like is one of the biggest opportunities that we can provide, which is to bring this small business, whoever this winner is, into our network of other partners and make those introductions to help drive their business ultimately. That's the goal of the program.
So how can people get involved in becoming a part of or becoming a contestant for the small business opportunity?
NYCFC/small business. All the information lives there, and that's where the application process lives. So again, it's NYCFC.com/small business.
Matt, when is the deadline?
The deadline for submissions is Valentine's Day.
There you go.
Right, so that's easy for everyone to remember. And then the announcement on the winner will be later, the 15th of March.
15th of March. And then
so again, the deadline for submissions, Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll select the winner. We'll select the winner by the 15th of March.
Yeah, and of course you have a website where we can go and just check all of that out and find out more.
NYCFC.com/small business.
There you go. All right. Anything after that coming up, or anything that we missed that you want to talk about?
I don't have much more. We're waiting for the final word from the MLS on when the 2021 season will officially kick off. I think everyone, most people are aware, they're going to allow fans in the game in Buffalo. I believe that's this week. So that's a nice sign about what potentially things to come in terms of us having fans back in the venue. I don't have much more, but we've done a tremendous job. So NYCFC.com for all the information /small business on this particular partnership, but also all of our social channels at NYCFC to and see what our guys are up to.
Matt, we can't wait until this is all over so we can come out and participate at a higher level in person.
Dr. Bob, I couldn't agree with you more.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Matt Goodman, COO and Chief Commercial Officer, NYCFC. We appreciate you. Thank you. Stay safe. God bless.
Same to you.
Thanks, Matt. All right, we'll take a break and come back with a whole lot more coming up next on Open.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back. You know, our next guests are the CEO and co-founder of Bronx Native and brand manager. They join us to speak about how their business has continued to not only survive, but thrive during the pandemic and how they have worked to continue helping their community. Please welcome to the show, Amaurys Grullon and Josue Caceres.
Yeah. What's up? What's up, everyone? 2021.
Shout out to my people out there. Let's go live.
What's up?
Tell us about all the wonderful things that you guys are doing during this pandemic.
Yes. Before we start, I just want to say something. Fun fact, right? In 2017, January 9th, almost today's what? January 7th. On January 9th, 2017, Bronx Native had his first live broadcast on BronxNet with Bob, with you. It was me and my sister.
I remember that.
For the first time, right? This is the first time we were ever on an interview on TV. So this is a pretty historic, iconic moment. We're returning back, you know, after years of being in the journey and everything. And we just want to say thank you, Bob. Thank you, BronxNet. Thank you for everything that you guys have done for Bronx Native, for us to continue grow. You've always been a platform. You guys have always been there for us. And you guys were the first platform to showcase us and to tell our story 3-4 years ago. So much love for that.
Yeah. Well, Josue and Amari, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Welcome back. I'm glad you got your feet wet. And now here we go, 2021.
2021, man. We have a lot of great things happening this year. You know, we had an amazing collaboration in the end of 2020 that is going to continue on to 2021. We have a book coming out. I'm going to let Josue talk a little bit about the 2020 collaboration we did with the Bronx Brewery and how we have a book coming out in the few days coming up. You know what I mean?
Well, tell us about it,
for sure. Yeah, so we did a collaboration with the Bronx Brewery, also Bronx Native, and BX Writers, which is a platform that I have under Bronx Native. And basically, we asked everyone to submit a phrase 2020. It literally, you know, it ranged from so many different things. You know, people express feelings towards COVID, towards the fight for Black lives, towards some people, you know, they just experienced so many different things. And we took all these phrases and put it onto one label on a beer can. And we also did some merch that went along with it, you know, some sweatshirts. And we're gonna finish it off with a book that's gonna have everybody's message all into one published book. And it's amazing. It's great for the people. And it's you know, it's sort of a time capsule of the year that was 2020.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Amadi, Josue, you guys got to send the crew some of your merch.
Yeah,
so we can wear.
Of
We can
course.
wear. We can do the Run DMC pose.
No facts. We have to.
No
we gotta
doubt.
send y'all merch. We gotta send y'all everything.
We're gonna send
Much
y'all the
love,
book,
always.
the merch, all that.
The book.
Yeah. So you got together with the brewery, right? The Bronx Brewery.
Yes.
are you going to do a signing down there or something? I mean, the book is out in what, 3 days or so?
The book is gonna come out. You know, we're gonna do a little pre-order first, and yeah, you know, now of course because of COVID and all these things, all these restrictions, it has been hard for us to continue when it came to, you know, having events, having gatherings, which was overall a big part of our business. But that was one of the things that COVID has kind of limited us in, kind of not in a permanent way, but in a long timeline, right? We haven't been able to really have our open mics that we have weekly. We haven't been able to have community events, workshops, our financial literacy workshops, right? Things that we were doing on a weekly basis. But you already know we've been able to adapt, restructure, and add new elements and things into our business, into our ecosystem to be able to survive and strive during this pandemic, during this current climate, which has been incredible and crazy.
Amaurys, what are some of the things that you guys had to do to adapt?
Yeah, you know, when it comes to we had two commercial spaces that we were operating from, right? So we kind of got a hit from that. We had to close our commercial spaces during the pandemic. We were able to have our flagship store survive, and it's still open now. But we had to increase our e-commerce, right? Our online store, our online presence when it comes to social media, when it comes to engaging with the community. You know, it was just media creation, right? It was just how do we kind of just sit down and now, you know, they say the new normal. So we had to change it up and switch it up, and that's what we did, you know.
Yeah. Josue, so I heard that you guys were featured on Netflix.
Yes, no. We have been featured on Netflix. You know, we've been working with a bunch of different companies. That's one thing that 2020 and 2019 has brought to us, right? Our collaborations with these bigger platforms like Netflix. We've been on Viceland on a show called Hustle. We've been featured in multiple things. AOC had a documentary called Knock Down the House, you know, and we worked with Netflix together to create a marketing and an advertisement campaign. And we made a merchandise for them, right? We've recently worked with PayPal. We had a documentary come out with PayPal about the pandemic and how PayPal was able to work with us in partnership to help us get away from the struggle that we were currently having during the pandemic.
What do you have around your neck?
This is a local handmade scarf from local talent here. You know, we love to support all of our people, all of our creators, all of our entrepreneurs out there. So much love. You know, this is the time to explore, create, and make it happen. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful. And it keeps you warm. Come on. What else do you need?
If I can just add to what Amaurys was saying, you know, that's something that I've enjoyed working alongside Bronx Native, you know, is the community outreach, you know, and that has allowed us to get on, you know, these platforms like Netflix and Viceland. You know, like we just did Bronx Giving, where we donated to-go meals, you know, to people in our community, and it's just, you know, the little efforts like that really you know, it makes us all worthwhile for us. So
Facts.
That's beautiful. And that was around Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah. So it was the third year, the third annual Bronx Giving, and it's on Thanksgiving, you know. And we every year we usually gather in a church and provide home cooked meals. But this year we did the to-go bags. We have a video on our YouTube, on our Instagram page. Everything is documented, and we're gonna do it forever. We're gonna do it every single year, and it's gonna be.
I like what you guys are doing. Everything's positive, you know. But give us a roundabout view of everything that you guys are doing and how you're helping our community through art.
Yeah. You know, one element for us that is highly important when it comes to our brand is social impact and social change, right? We want to see our people succeed, our people strive, a better way of living. We want to change the narrative, right? Us growing up in the Bronx, you know, we you know, me personally, and I love the Bronx, the most beautiful place on earth, right? But why do we still have these systematic ways of living still? Why do we have these struggles? Why do we have these lack of resources, right? Lack of financial literacy when it comes, you know, education, creativity, just empowerment, right? And we are here to say to our people in our communities, Black and brown, immigrants, right? People that, you know, we're here. You can do. Your environment does not depict your future. You know what I mean? We want to see positivity. We want to spread love through the arts, through the experiences that we create, through all these things. So we make sure that everything under our ecosystem, Bronx Native, BX Writers, BXN Records, all of these things have a purpose. We are a business with a purpose, right? Yes, we are selling merchandise that inspires, that empowers, you know, we are sustainable, but at the same time, everything we do, we think about the community, for the people, by the people, and that's just the foundation of Bronx Native from the beginning.
Yeah, so
boom.
Woo, that's it, man. That's it. You know, doing good.
Now say that in Spanish.
Ok, aquí Bronx Native es un negocio que no solamente tiene ropa, pero también tiene un propósito. Ok, nosotros estamos aquí para representar nuestra cultura, nuestra historia, nuestra gente aquí en el Bronx. Let's go, man. Let's do this.
Started from the bottom. Now we're
here. Hey.
But yeah. Josue, we have anything coming up that we can talk about that you would like to share?
Yeah, like we said, you know, we're coming out with the book. Of course, some new merch for the new year. And you know, just stay tuned. We're working very hard. You know, like Amaurys said, it's very important for us to put our people on and be that resource, you know, for our community. So we definitely have a lot of projects coming up that is heavily community involved. So just be ready for that.
All right,
I just want to say one last thing. One project that we do have that is really important. We are opening up our print shop called South Bronx Press. Yes, print shop. Anybody out there that needs a merchandise, that needs a shirt, that needs print, you know, design this, contact us, Bronx Native. We will create not only your design, but we will print it on a shirt, we'll print it on a hat, and we got you. All those small businesses, all the established businesses, all the organizations, all the nonprofits, everyone that needs merch, hit us up. South Bronx Press. We got you. Let's do it.
Oh, you're tattooing merch.
Right.
You're tattooing merch.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, that's something right there. Yo, we're gonna tat your merch.
That's it. We're gonna tat your merch. Made in the South Bronx. Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What's the website?
The website, everything. You can find everything at bronxnative.com. That's it. bronxnative.com, and social media at the Bronx Native. Or we have an Instagram too for at South Bronx Press.
Thank you guys so much. You're a whole lot of fun. Josue and Amaurys, we appreciate you guys, man. Keep up the good work. Again, we can go to that website. Everything can be found where?
bronxnative.com. And our social media at the Bronx Native.
There you go. So throw your hands in the air. Wave around like you just don't care. Your garage is in a prayer to stand. Let me hear you say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll take a break. We got more coming up next on Open. Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS and Bronx Nets, Channel 67. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for checking it out. Our next guests are the Director of Take Care NYC and Test and Trace Corps, and the Assistant Vice President of Ambulatory Care for NYC Health and Hospitals, and the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of NYC Health and Hospitals and Community Care, and the Chief Equity Officer for NYC Test and Trace Corps, as they join us today to speak about COVID testing and tracing protocol and their hotel isolation program. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Amanda K. Johnson, Nicole Jordan Martin, and Annabelle Palmer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you tell us about your roles with the NYC Health and Hospitals and the NYC Test and Trace Corps?
Absolutely. I'm happy to go first, Bob. So as mentioned before, I'm Dr. Amanda Johnson. In my pre-COVID role, I serve in the Office of Ambulatory Care. I'm an assistant vice president, and I focus on care models for individuals who are vulnerable by virtue of having a history of incarceration, experiencing homelessness, and other factors. I'm also a primary care doctor who works at one of our federally qualified health center sites in Harlem. And then in COVID times, I'm serving as the director of Take Care. Take Care is the portion of the Test and Trace program that helps individuals safely and effectively isolate or quarantine after they've contracted or been exposed to COVID-19. And I'm really excited to be able to tell you all a little bit more about all of the aspects of this particular program.
Okay. And who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Annabelle?
Sure, go ahead, Annabelle. Hi, I'm, as Dr. Lee mentioned, I'm Annabelle Palma. I'm the Chief Equity Officer on the Test and Trace Corps. Prior to taking on this role, I was serving as Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Social Services in New York City. I was charged with working under the leadership of Commissioner Banks around homeless issues, as well as human resource issues around the city.
Mm-hmm. And Nicole?
Hi, again, good morning. So I'm Nicole Jordan-Martin, and I have a dual role right now. I currently lead the Community Care Division of the New York City Health and Hospitals Health System, which provides care management and home care services and programs to our patients so that we continue to care for them once they leave the walls of our hospitals and health centers. And in my role related to New York City Test and Trace Corps, I'm leading the day-to-day operations for the isolation hotels.
I like it. Tell me more about the isolation hotels, because you hear a little bit about it, but you don't hear a whole lot.
Sure. So the hotel program was born in early April, right after we started to experience the first surge of COVID in New York City. We at New York City Health and Hospitals felt like we needed to provide this critical resource to curb community spread and prevent and control community spread recurring from individuals who were being discharged from our hospitals and our emergency departments. So the program was initially born to support our hospitals in being able to have a place to safely discharge individuals who required isolation. Since then, it expanded and became the New York City Test and Trace Corps Take Care Hotel program. And we believe that it's a fundamentally critical resource to offer New Yorkers, both residents and visitors, to really curb and mitigate this community spread of COVID-19. It is a very comprehensive program and includes transportation to and from, continuity of any care needs that our guests have when they come to the program, whether it's social service related or their medical or mental health needs. All of those needs we can address with their existing healthcare providers or connect them to new providers as well. There are a lot of social needs that we can address at the hotels, including needs for access to food, access to medications, housing for individuals who are unstably housed or homeless, et cetera. So it's very comprehensive, and we have clinical staff, nurses, physicians, social workers, and other support staff to assist individuals when they're at the hotel as well.
Okay, and that's set up through Health and Hospitals. So it's a visit to the hospital, and then the hospital sends them to the hotel. Is that the way it works?
Sure, that's one of the ways. There are other ways. Individuals can call 311. They can call the COVID hotline, which is 212-COVID-19. They can also be connected to the hotels through the contact tracing program, which I'm sure Dr. Johnson can describe further.
Dr. Johnson?
Happily. I do want to underscore the other modes that Nicole mentioned earlier, though, 311, calling 212 COVID-19, because it is so essential that people isolate at the first sign of symptoms. So it's great, and I'm going to tell you all about how to get tested. I'm going to tell you all about what contact tracing entails, but one of the mantras, the refrains that we're trying to really get out in the community is don't wait, separate. When you have symptoms, when you learn that you've been exposed, that's the time to get out of your house, or else you run a really high risk in those first early days of transmitting COVID-19 to your loved ones, to your roommates, to your family members. And things that we're really worried about right now include the rising positivity rates in older adults and people who are over 75. So for your grandparents and great aunts and uncles, really be mindful of your symptoms, be mindful of your health, be mindful of the risks you're taking, and use one of those other options to isolate early in your course of exposure. But as Ms. Jordan Martin mentioned, contact tracing is another way that people learn about our hotel program, and then the other options that we have to support people who are isolating or quarantining at home. Annabelle might be getting into a little bit more of the footprint of our testing sites, but let's say that anywhere in the city you present and are tested for COVID-19, that test result comes to our core of contact tracers who will reach out to you by phone to get some information from you. They want to understand where you work, if you work, they want to understand whom you live with, and they want to know the people that you may have been in touch with over the past couple of weeks during the times that you were likely to have been infectious, so that they can reach out to them, encourage them to get tested, and we can break those chains of transmission early on. At the end of that interview.
What's one of the things that people can latch onto upon receiving a phone call like that? Because a lot of people hear a phone call like that and they think, wow,
oh yeah,
they're standoffish. But what's one of the codes? What do you guys say in the beginning so that people can understand that it's from you guys?
Yeah, so we'll identify ourselves as being part of New York City's Test and Trace core. And if you go onto our Test and Trace website, that's testandtrace.nyc, there's actually a place where you can verify your contact tracer. I know that, in New York, people are savvy. And so you want to make sure that you really know who you're talking to when you're giving out information. You can verify who your contact tracer is by going online if there's any concerns, but you have a right to know who your contact tracer is. And I'm pleased to report that your contact tracers are other members of your community. We went to great efforts to ensure that the people who are talking to you on the phone, are your neighbors, are your community members, have some understanding of what you're going through. And the other thing that I want to mention is that the information that we're asking of people is to help us better understand the spread of COVID-19, better understand how to support you, but we don't ask anything that we don't need to know because we want to protect your information. And the best way to protect it is not to ask for things that we don't absolutely need to know. I know that for the communities that we're serving, public charge is a real concern, and utilizing the hotel program, getting vaccinated, getting tested, doing all these things does not constitute a public charge. We have bigger things to worry about. The virus does not care where you come from. And so we're here to support everybody. But an excellent question, Dr. Lee.
Included in this, there's a vaccination program, right? You guys have to get vaccinated first, frontline workers.
So frontline workers are one of the priority populations for vaccination right now. And I'm sure that you have heard about the ever expanding vaccination efforts in the city. We are so excited, and we're actively advocating for the priority populations to be brought online as soon as possible, because that is a really important tool that we have to stop the spread of the disease.
Yeah, and before that, and even after you get inoculated, you have to stay in line with the 3 W's. Wear that mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. I say that on the radio, and we say it on TV too, the WWW. Wear that mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. You guys are going to start using it?
Oh, wow. I don't know how I can forget it at this point. The only thing I'll add to that is monitor your symptoms and separate safely, but we'll think of a way to work it in. But you are correct. It's not going to, the core 4, as we like to call them. But you're correct. After someone gets vaccinated, it does not mean that you can stop wearing your mask right now. There are things that we need to do. One, it's going to take some time for people to be vaccinated. And so you have no way of knowing when you walk down the street or when you go into a grocery store who has been vaccinated and who isn't. So right now, we're all wearing masks until we all get the vaccination. I think the other thing to keep in mind is we know that it prevents you from getting sick, but we need to have more time to understand its impact on mitigating the spread in the community. So right now, remember our 3 Ws, our core 4s, and then as vaccination comes online, that's another tool, but we're sticking with the game plan. We're not making any changes. We're not peeling back yet. That's not where we are in this pandemic.
That's right. Annabelle.
Yes, so I'll pick up with Dr. Johnson had mentioned in terms of testing sites. We have hundreds of testing sites throughout the city of New York, and to find one is as easy as calling 311 or calling our COVID hotline 212 COVID-19. We can't stress enough, that information, because we want individuals to really have it in mind. We just went live with 22 mobile units this week, including 15 of those mobile units with rapid antigen testing, and that's in partnership with our nonprofits. We're expecting at least another 25 mobile units, all of them using rapid antigen tests, and that'll give us a total of 40 rapid antigen units throughout the city. Each rapid mobile unit can perform at least 300 tests a day, and in addition, 25 teams are assisting with self-swabbing throughout the city Monday through Thursday. So our testing commitment to our community, especially communities that have been hardest hit by COVID, it's live, and we want to make sure that New Yorkers continue to access testing and to take care.
Yeah, that's great. Where can we go to get more information on what you guys are doing?
nyc.gov/COVID test, and all the information will be at their fingertips.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amanda K. Johnson, Nicole Jordan Martin, and Annabelle Palmer. We appreciate you, and thank you so much once again. We'll take a break right here. Bobby C. is up next. He has the latest in the world of sports.
Special treat here this morning on Bronx Nets Open. The winningest coach in Lehman College women's basketball history joins us, Coach Harrison. Eric Harrison, how are you? So great to see you.
Pretty good. Always a pleasure to see you, Bobby, and look forward to talking to you guys. Exciting to see you today.
I think that's a great tagline for any coach when you can say that you've won over 300 games and over 20-plus seasons at Lehman. And I'm sure a lot of our fans at home know that BronxNet is housed on the campus of Lehman College. And they've seen you many times here on our show. But right now, a coach for a great program with a great resume, a great history, but there is no college basketball going on at Lehman. How difficult has it been and challenging for not only the coaches, but the student athletes with no hoops here at Lehman?
Well, it's been a trying season, with the pandemic in March last year and our spring sports being canceled. We thought it would be light at the end of the tunnel, and by the fall, we'd be back to normal. But not having spring sports and now the winter sports is definitely a change. 23 years, I'm used to being heavily into the season right now, practicing every day, and this is a little different now, so it's about keeping the team together and, hoping that we all survive through this and, we see better days.
I love that Knicks shirt, Coach. I know right now, of course, the Knickerbockers off to a really good start. And that's exciting to see. I know you guys miss basketball. I think it's incredible to think that I know you're a big Yankee fan too. It's incredible to think that it feels like yesterday that you guys had just won the CUNY Conference, played in the NCAA tournament, and then got a chance to be honored at Yankee Stadium. We're talking about that 15-16 championship season. And man, I'm pretty sure everybody in the Bronx would sign up for a chance to be back at Yankee Stadium again.
Yeah, it's one of those things, it seems like just yesterday, that championship was a special season and have the opportunity to be honored by the greatest sports franchise in the world and have an opportunity to be honored right before the game was something that'll be a lasting memory for me. It's probably one of the greatest highlights of my career, probably in my life there. It was a good moment. The Yankees did pretty well by us, and it's something that will definitely go down in history.
Really so great to watch that championship year. I think as someone that's watched much of your career and also been there at Lehman for some of those big games, I'm sure that's got to rank at the top.
Yeah, that was a special team that year. We had an All-American and Amelie Del Rosario. We had a good senior captain, Jennifer Navarro, Corinne Walker, Yarmes Jones, and Amani Lightbourne. It was a real magical team that year. Even the way we won the CUNY championship in overtime, then to go out in the NCAA tournament and have a double-digit lead against a national power like NYU and just get a couple of late injuries and lose a tough game at the end. But it's something that, it's truly probably the highlight of my 23 years at Lehman. So, it's something that we look forward to hopefully repeating in the very, very, very near future. But that team's going to be hard to match what that team did.
So multiple CUNYAC Coach of the Year. Again, you've had some really great seasons. 15, 16, I would think is at the top, but are you most proud of that season, especially when you consider that you've been Coach of the Year before and had other teams that have really been good?
That season right there was the first championship in 2007 was very special because it was the first championship that we had ever had in the history of Lehman College. But the 15-16 team holds true to the heart because we had been without a gym for about 2 years. We had lost in the playoffs the year before after Amelie Del Rosario had played, had suffered a big injury and fought through it and still played. And, that team was resilient. They all planned it. They wanted to come back and work hard. And it was probably one of the hardest working teams that I've ever had, and those girls gave it 200%, so it was a proud moment to see them wrap up their careers with a championship and, bring another one to the school. But that was probably the most special one right there.
So, as a coach of this great program, and again, an impressive resume for you here in the Bronx, how difficult has it been to basically be recruiting right now to try to keep the student athletes engaged remotely, whether it's practice or, trying to have all of these types of Zoom meetings from home? How challenging has it been basically to try to continue business as usual when business as usual isn't the case?
Yeah, it's been, they're definitely earning our money this year. It's something where we didn't find out till about mid-November that CUNY was going to cancel all of the winter sports. So for the whole beginning of the year, we were keeping our players upbeat. They were holding out hope to play. They were excited about it. And then once we got the news, we just continued with a lot of Zoom calls and keeping the kids real fired up going into next season. There was no seniors on this year's team, so it isn't like we were going to lose a player who was going to be disappointed. So it's now just a matter of keeping everybody upbeat and, keeping the mentalities ready and, looking forward to hopefully doing winter 21. So it's one of those things that Zoom, I've become a master of the Zoom calls now. So, I'm pretty good at that. And, we do a lot of team videos where, ironically, the number one video we show is the 2016 championship game. So we watch that a lot and try to give them a glimpse into what the future could hold.
So, Coach, what's the gut feeling? I know it's hard to kind of be a prognosticator when it comes to COVID-19, but what's the gut feeling in terms of when, Lehman Athletics, the CUNY Conference, when most of the sports would be coming back?
Well, right now, CUNY hasn't made a decision yet on the spring sports. That's a decision to come soon. It doesn't look the most promising. Nobody's told me anything, but we're already in January right now, and, students aren't on campus. And I think the NCAA, as well as the CUNY Conference, wanted where sports were going to happen, students would be back on campus on a regular basis, which has not happened yet. So hopefully that, the moon and the stars align up and this COVID is cleared up a little bit and there's a little more information on how we could be successful with it. And we hopefully are back in the fall with our regular sports lineup. But, that's the thing about right now. Nobody really knows anything, so you're just going on the day-to-day basis and hoping that eventually there's a breakthrough and, we can resume life back to normal as the way it is.
And also, fun fact, I'm sure many of the fans at home might also know this about you, but you're also the scheduling coordinator for the athletic program. And I believe Lehman has 18 teams now, correct?
18 varsity sports, yep.
18 varsity sports. So, how challenging has that been basically to try to kind of forecast what the future might hold in terms of scheduling for all of the programs once this does come back? Because I'm sure there's kind of a logjam in trying to figure out what the schedules might be, because it seems like so many of the programs are handling COVID and conferences handling COVID-19 a bit differently.
Yeah, it's been unique. It's been a lot of cancellations, of course, this year. But as much as we're canceling this year, we're rescheduling as usual, hoping everything goes back to normal, but already knowing that there's a strong possibility of a lot of things being changed. The conference is still talking different things, so nobody really knows yet if it's going to be a regional schedule, if you'll be able to play a schedule as is. So it's now just putting together a few temporary things to have in place and make adjustments. So I'm on the call every single day. Some days we schedule something, a week later you've got to change it all around. So, it's a matter of just staying busy and staying in contact with the other schedule coordinators and hopefully ironing everything out soon.
The virus, of course, running pretty strong here in the tri-state and in New York City, but you still have other programs locally that are playing basketball. So is it difficult knowing that you have some of these other teams here in the city that are playing when maybe you guys could be playing?
As a competitor, you see a lot of the schools and, you wish that you were out there competing as well, just as a competitor. From just the administrator and just from a human person, you just know right now this COVID is very serious, and you want to make sure that you don't put people at risk. The CUNY schools are a lot different because, we're mostly a commuter school. So our kids are on the train every day. It's a lot of interaction with a lot of people coming in. So, you want to make sure that when these kids are coming to school, they're safe and, you want to put their health and their well-being first. So in the beginning, it was anxious, you wanted to get out on the court. But as you see it play along and you see how many lives have been lost, you realize the bigger picture and you just, hopefully one day it gets back to normal. In due time, you'll be back on that court.
Well, Coach, I'm excited to maybe be back on campus to be in studio and do some shows. And I'm excited to be back on campus at some point to see some Lehman College basketball and have you back on the sidelines again. That would be great. The little things that we took for granted before all of this.
Oh, yeah, we definitely take a lot of things for granted. And this has been something that makes you appreciate the little things. So we're excited and hopefully we can get back to normal soon. And hopefully I can see you on that campus and we can be out there celebrating another championship.
All the best in the new year, Coach. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome back. Our next guest is the executive producer and host of her own show and host of the weekly webinar series, The Lunchtime Life. And she's here today to speak about how she got started and what motivated her to host her very own show. Please welcome to the show, Serrina Goodman. Serrina, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Dr. Abu. How are you?
I'm fine. So we are here to speak about what got you started in this. So tell us all about it.
Well, I started in television because I wanted a platform, right, to talk about all kinds of different topics. And I wanted to be able to just reach like everyday folks. And so that's how the Serrina Goodman Show started. But it started actually at BronxNet. So there was an executive producer there at BronxNet who came up with the idea, and we first started at BronxNet, and then later we brought it into Brooklyn. And that's been 14 years ago.
Wow.
The Serrina Goodman Show. Yeah, 14 years. It's been a wonderful platform, a wonderful springboard to everything else that I've done.
So it's a springboard. So what are some of the other things that you've done throughout the years?
Yeah, so out of the television show, out of that, it turned into a weekly show. At first, it was a monthly show. Then it turned into a weekly show. Then out of that, I started into ministry. So I also run a drama ministry, and I started doing faith-based stage and film productions. We won Best Spiritual Film of 2018. I've been the host of the Be Free Awards, the Satellite Be Free Awards for BRIC 2 years in a row. I've been a recipient of 2 of those awards for Wild Stage Personality and also for Best Spiritual Film. It's blossomed into the Drama Room, the creation of the Drama Room. It's blossomed into the Lunchtime Lift. We're into our 40th week of webinars, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful journey. And it all started with that one idea.
Yeah, and it all started right here in the Bronx.
It started at BronxNet. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So you've come a long way.
A long way. But when I came to BronxNet, you know what? I came there as talent, right? I came there talent with responsibility. I always tell that. But my responsibility was to bring the food. So I came to BronxNet as the talent on the stage, but that wasn't enough. I wanted to have more input on the contents. And in order for me to be able to do that, I needed to know what I was talking about. So I became a certified producer. So I'm able to work audio, I'm able to work cameras, I'm able to lay lines, everything. And that was important to me. It made it from being talent with responsibilities of bringing the food for all of its crew, and it turned me into the executive producer.
And well, you climbed those steps, I tell you, and guess what? You're still bringing the food.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah,
every day. It's just different. It's just different food and no aluminum pans, but food just the same. Food for thought every single day.
Right. Serrina, tell us about this fantastic show that you have, the Lunchtime Lift. Does it stimulate you mind, body, and spirit?
Absolutely. We started it on April 6th, right in the thick of the pandemic. And we wanted to come up with something that we could do that would really bring some information and resources to the community and to the world. And so I started this webinar. It's been 40 weeks now. So we're on to our 40th week, and we've brought some wonderful topics, some healing topics about essential employers, topics about autism and COVID, how COVID have impacted so many different areas of our life, mental health, substance abuse. We even had people on from the Grief Network to talk about how to handle grief for people who've lost loved ones due to COVID-19. So it's just been a wonderful journey, and it started off with an idea, and 40 weeks later, here we are.
Here we are. And what are some of the things that you spoke about when you were talking about healing? Because, a lot of people need that right about now, whether it be mind, body.
Yeah, well, so yesterday I had on someone, her name is Tenaria Drummond Smith, and she's an author, and she did a book that's called The Inspirational Journey. And so in that journal, you get an opportunity to think through this process, to try to get into our own selves and understand how to navigate through this process. And I always say to everyone, look, 2020, when we were kids and we went to the eye doctor, and the doctor said, no, she don't need glasses, she see clearly, she got 20/20 vision. Last year was the year of clarity. It was a year for us to get clear vision. And now we have to take that clear vision that we have from 2020 and move it into 21, reshape and reform our lives, and get a better understanding of who we are. The pause from last year was necessary. I don't think we would have done as much self-inventory, enough of looking around in our surroundings and humanity. We would not have done that had it not been for the pause.
So the pandemic or the pause helped you out with your 2020 vision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I learned more last year than I've learned in many years about people, about myself, about how I think, and why I think the way that I think. So it was a monumental year. Of course, there's a lot of horrific things that came out of 2020, but there are some things that we really needed to know about ourselves.
How has your faith impacted your show and some of the things that you think about and all the things that you do in putting all of this together?
Well, once I got called to the ministry, so I'm a ministry leader at Christ Fellowship Baptist Church. I run the drama ministry. I've been doing that for about 5 years.
Uh-huh.
The work that I do is always inspirational and motivational. I do not write, produce, or direct any pieces of work that does not offer inspiration or motivation to someone else. That's my goal. Of course, to win souls, and at the same time to make sure those who feel hopeless know that there's hope. So without
like it.
I can't do this. I can't do this job. I can't.
Yeah.
And I used to do commercials like about cognac. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't feel fulfilled. I got paid.
Yeah.
But I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah, I had to turn a lot of that stuff down because of my involvement visiting schools throughout the tri-state area, the WBS On Time program, and the Make the Grade Foundation. So I turned down $100,000 contracts, with Remy Martin and English 800 and all these beer commercials, So I mean, needed the money, but you had to put things in its place.
You have to, but you can't serve two masters.
Yeah,
that's the way it is. You can't serve two masters. That's the bottom line. Yeah. So you have to make a decision at some point in your life what course you're going to take, and that's the only course for me. So that's what I'll do for the rest of this journey. It's something that inspires others.
How can we latch on and check you out and watch some of your show?
So of course on Facebook we have a lot of the shows are on Facebook, on YouTube. You can always reach me on Facebook. On YouTube we have quite a few of the shows that's already uploaded, but also they could tune in on Wednesday. Every Wednesday at 1:00 is the lunchtime lift. We're gonna lift you up and get you through the rest of your week. There you go. So every Wednesday at 1:00 you can go onto the lunchtime lift, and it's at obtjobs.org/webinar. And whenever you go there, we'll go right into it. So it's obtjobs.org/webinar, and you can tune into the lunchtime lift every Wednesday. Now, the Serrina Goodman Show that's been on for 14 years, like I told you, it started at BronxNet, and I then later took it to then BCAT, which is now Brick. Yeah. 14 years later, I'm on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Brick. So you could just Google that and come right onto the Brick Network on Channel 1 on Tuesdays at 7:00. Yeah.
Ooh, you work in the media. Look at that. TV. Now we're going to get your radio show.
Yes. Well, I'm starting a new podcast that's going to launch this Sunday. It's called the Business of Marriage. So myself and my new co-host is going to be doing a podcast, and that podcast will hopefully help people who are, even if they're not married yet, or if they're married and they have questions about marriage, then that's what we're going to address on that podcast. So we want to keep it real because marriage is a business, right? It's a merging of two companies. I merge my company with his company or her company, and together we want to make sure that's a good union. But there's some questions and things you got to ask before you get to that point. Right?
Ooh, do you?
Yes, indeed.
Serrina, thank you so much. Serrina Goodman.
Thank you.
The show. You should know. Thanks for joining us. We had a great time with you. Thanks for all that wonderful information. Unfortunately, this is what happens all the time at the end of the show. That's all the time we have for today's show. And I want to thank you, our guests, for joining us, and you, our viewers, for tuning in and checking it all out. You can keep following BronxNet TV for continued coverage. I want to thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day. And always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll catch you another day, another way. In fact, I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS. I love you all. Peace.